Hey, everybody. I see folks are already connecting. We are here. Happy Wednesday. Let's get this party started. Hey, Damian, I see you have made it. Fatima, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Look at you with your house background.
Man, from doing so much Zoom meetings, I'm like, I change out my background with my outfits,
I gotta figure out how to do mine. When I did it, it looked like crazy. It didn't work.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so I just got this gloomy wall, but I'm gonna buy some lights and stuff to make it brighter. Let me see. I think this light will make it brighter. But hey, everybody, come on in. Come on in. So happy everybody is making it. You're in for a treat today as we get into some real estate talk today. Welcome. So my name is DeOnna. I am the leader for the Georgia group. Okay. I'm also general counsel for REI USA and the owner of Law Clerk on Demand. And so as we relaunch this year and kind of get things started, we'll be seeing this group grow. Okay. And so it's meant for everybody to come together and ask their real estate questions specifically for Georgia. Okay, all right, it looks like we're filling up. Your question specifically about buying and marketing, wholesaling, whatever it is that you want to do in the state of Georgia. And so we'll be bringing in different experts to come in and share. We're in a great position because we have Damian with us, who I've personally seen his journey coming to different meetings back when we were South Atlanta REIA. I had the pleasure of seeing Damian at the different meetings and seeing his journey and kind of checking in and stuff like that. So I asked him to come and talk with us today, share some of his case studies, share some of his newbie advice. You actually used to run the beginner group, right?
Yep. And then COVID hit, and it was just like.
Now, are you gonna do a group for REI USA? Are you over one?
Not now. I wanted to actually talk to Stacy about it and see, but so much stuff during the whole pandemic had shifted the way we were doing business. So I kind of contracted a little bit to kind of get everything back going before we start expanding again. Because even right now we started doing the live meetups, and that has been growing. The first one we did, we had like 70 people there. The second one was like 100 plus. So so we and it's crazy because literally it was just talking to a lot of different investors, and people just wanted to go out and doing meetings all the time and not able. So right now what we did is just get a lot of investors that are actually doing it and getting some live case studies at the meetings and just running numbers and just information, just a lot of information, just getting it out there. So people who are just starting out, or even people that have been doing it for a while, because I learn a lot at the meetings that I'm hosting. And I'm sitting back in the crowd too, like, okay, I'm gonna take that one down. I'm gonna take that one down.
Yeah,
it's great, man. I love the network.
Awesome. Well, I love it. That's what we want to keep going. I see quite a few people have joined us. So if you guys want to come on and introduce yourselves, to share your connection to real estate, you don't have to, but because this is a smaller meeting, you do have that opportunity. Again, this meeting is being brought to you by REI USA. So if you're in your first month of REI USA, definitely share that. We want to welcome you. We are a community that's been around for a while. Yeah, and we want you to take advantage. We're happy you came to the Georgia group, but also go to all the different groups that we have available, because you really can just go all over and do the workshops and get so much information.
And where you from? I'd love for everybody, since it is a smaller group, I'd love for everybody to just kind of chime in. Just tell me where you're from. Love to see some people's faces too, to kind of connect. It's okay if you don't want to, but at least, let's hear some voices, see where you're from, and kind of connect a little bit.
Right. Who wants to go first? And you do not have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. You can. We prefer that you do, but I understand because my Zoom meetings, my camera usually isn't on. So, but we do want to know that you up in here. So, who wants to say hi? I do see some familiar names. So I want you to say hello, what you do in real estate, and where you're from. Who we got first?
My name's Oakley Jones. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I am good friends with DeOnna Britt, and I just came here to learn tonight.
All right. Are you currently in New Orleans, or are you in Atlanta?
I'm in Atlanta. Yeah, I'm in Atlanta right now.
Okay, cool. I appreciate you coming out.
Yes, welcome. I'm so happy you made it. All right, who else we got? Got to tell us hello so we can get started.
Hello.
Hey.
Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Divine, and I'm a real estate agent. I'm new to the industry, and also looking forward to doing some investing of my own in the near future, and also looking to work with investors.
Okay, that's good. Definitely. You have a specific area you're working in right now, or you kind of just open to everywhere?
I'm located here in Southwest Atlanta.
Southwest Atlanta.
But
Okay.
I'm pretty familiar with most parts of the city, so I'm open to all areas.
Okay, that's cool.
So now this is also my first meeting here, so
okay,
pretty excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. Stacy has great meetings and great groups. She's really so giving, because even when I first started my journey in real estate, she was one of my coaches when I first started. And I kind of mirrored the way that I was doing my business my first year off of how Stacy was running her business at that time. So it's definitely, Stacy's definitely a person to pay attention to. DeOnna is actually a beast too. She's killing it in real estate. She has like she's been doing real well because she's been watching me, but I've been watching her. So definitely.
Well, thank you. And I was nodding my head because I was gonna say, listen, y'all, I may run meetings and have a service, so I'm a teacher and a vendor. But listen, I be right in these webinars with y'all. So that's what makes it so easy to talk about REI USA, or even when it was South Atlanta REIA. We come from a really passionate place because honestly, I'm going to be real with you. Everything that you need is inside of this organization. I recommend doing the 7 critical steps. I literally, DeOnna Britt, went through the 7 critical steps. And I was just fascinated because I think sometimes we think we have, we know we just jump into business, but it's interesting when you listen to even if it's just one other person, like, hey, what do you do? Or how's your business set up? And your mind is blown. So that's a webinar that's already pre-recorded, 7 critical steps. And I recommend those of you who are new, go through it and really do all 7 videos as a way to kick off everything. But yeah, this group, all of the teachers really passionately want to see you get to your next deal, for sure.
Exactly. And then listen to what she just said too, because she said for your business, not creating a glorified job for yourself, but actually running a business. And sometimes people mistakenly those two things, with a business and being a true entrepreneur, and what we're doing right now. So that's one of the things you really need to pay attention to, 7 critical steps to start a business.
Absolutely. So who else we got? So I really just wanted to allow you guys to say hello, and then we're going to jump into the meat and potatoes. This meeting is a lot shorter than a lot of meetings that we do, because this is just meant for us to come together, network, and then we're going to bring in somebody to give us their expert experience. So does anybody else want to say hello before we jump into giving Damian the floor? I'm not going to call y'all out, but if you want to say
Hi, DeOnna.
I was gonna call him out.
Hi, Damian. My name is Janelle Perry, and I'm actually based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was going on to DeOnna's website to potentially buy some lists. And so from there, I got the email, and I've done different REIAs in Atlanta before. And so when I got the email about this one, I was like, oh, perfect, let me do this. I've been in clubhouse rooms with DeOnna, and she's such a blessing. So wanted to go ahead and do this. Thank you both. I really appreciate it.
What part of Charlotte? I actually moved to Georgia from Charlotte.
Oh, really? Wow. So I live off of 485 in Mallet Creek area. So towards Concord Mills.
Okay, I know exactly where it is. I used to work off of University.
Okay, yeah, I worked out there and have lived in the area as well. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, and also just a quick plug. So Damian, are you gonna be with the Thursday crew tomorrow on Clubhouse?
Yes.
Okay, so Janelle, so Damian's with the Thursday crew that does keeping it real. What's it called? Real Talk Real Estate.
Yeah, real estate.
So since your Clubhouse family,
Like 6
Janelle.
o'clock.
Yeah, so be on there too. So, and guys, we do have a REI USA night for on Clubhouse. So if you guys are on this app, some of you may be like, what are we talking about? But if you are on the app, which is just for iPhone users right now, you can meet us on there and be talking live about real estate on there also. And so REI USA has a room on Tuesdays at 6:30.
I literally bought an iPhone just to go on Clubhouse.
I mean, I think it's worth it. Or I guess you can, like, I have it on my iPad, but I don't use it as much. But I think you could get an iPad too. Yeah. But I mean, it's worth it to me.
Yeah, it's network and the people you're connected to. I got one gem that was like, oh, that paid for it right there. That just changed the whole game right then. And that's all you just surrounded with so much people in high levels. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And people are doing deals. People are really doing deals, really networking, meeting up. Like, it is no joke. It's really what you make it. And it's the same thing here. Like, we want you guys in REI USA to actually, get success. I'm big on that. Any groups that I lead, we build in our accountability. I want to know what kind of marketing you're doing. Talk to us. So in a minute, I'm going to be giving the floor to Damian. Did anybody else want to say hello before we jump in?
Hey, I'll go next. Hi, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. I am originally from New York, currently in North Carolina, and looking to relocate to Georgia. I have a couple of investment properties already, so Georgia's a new market for me. So just here to do some networking, find out about the market. Also a recent law school graduate, so maybe a career change as well.
That's great. What part of New York?
Brooklyn.
So I started at Brooklyn, then I went to North Carolina, then I came to Georgia.
Oh, so this is my path. This is exactly what I'm going to do. What part of Brooklyn? You have to go further than that.
East Flatbush.
Okay, I was in Canarsie.
I went to Canarsie Night School.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to FDR, not too much of that, but yeah.
Well, cool, Joy. Well, welcome. How did you hear about the meeting?
Well, I forget I think I got an email from you about the REIA.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I started investing like years ago. So I know the first thing is to join the local REIA. So now that I'm, looking to relocate to Georgia, when that email popped up about the REIA, I was like, okay, I have to join. So now that I'm a part of the REIA, I just get the emails about the whatever events are taking place. So I jump on whenever I can.
She ain't playing, she's serious.
Yes, I am. I am.
I'm over here talking and on mute, but good. Welcome. We're happy to have you. We really hope that you enjoy REI USA. Who else we got to say hello? We're going to pick up the pace a little bit. Anybody else want to say hello and introduce yourself, your connection to real estate? And are most of you here from the email? It looks like I emailed everybody today. That's how we got the crew today, which is good to know. You got to know what marketing is working.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to say hi?
I'll speak. My name is Dana. I'm actually from Texas, but in fact, me and my daughter, we talked to you last week, made an appointment. Where she actually lives in Atlanta, and currently she and her husband are Airbnb a property. So I was really looking at doing that in Georgia as well, in Atlanta, because I'm always there visiting them. So I figured, with that connection still there, I can go on and do that. But I would want to do some probably properties here in Dallas as well. But I'm just really coming on board right now and just trying to get things rolling and all. So ultimately, I believe all of us want to own property, but just to kind of get us off the ground floor and just start, making money. Both of us are just right now investing in trying to do some Airbnbs. But if I can get a property, that's even better.
Well, good, good. Well, first of all, happy to have you. So happy you guys are making it to this meeting. I know you're going to enjoy it. We do have a group that's specifically on short-term rentals, Airbnb. That's run by Rich Monroe. I'm not sure of his day. Damian, you don't know, do you?
No, I'm not sure, but definitely followed up. But Rich really, like, he specializes in Airbnb.
The laws, everything.
Yeah, laws and everything. He's part of the board here with Airbnb, isn't he?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, so like he's serious with it and he knows his stuff. Like anytime I do anything Airbnb, I call Rich first and be like, okay, Rich, this is what I'm gonna do. And he'd be like, nah, that's not gonna work. Or he'll let you know that's what you need to do in that area. He actually, the house that you see behind me, he actually walked this property because I was potentially gonna do an Airbnb with it when I first bought it. We ended up not doing it, but him and his wife walked it and kind of told us the numbers and how much we would make a night and things like that. So it was definitely a pleasure just to have him out there and help me with that. And just to reach out to somebody from the network that specialized that will actually come to my property and help me with something like that.
Oh, okay, great. Well, good to know. And thank you for that information.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. Any other hellos as we get ready to get started? Any other? Miss Gladys, I see you unmuted. How are you? Miss Leonard, were you trying to say hello? Okay, maybe not. She may not have meant to unmute. Okay, guys, I think we got everybody. Anybody else? Okay, we're gonna get this show on the road. So, okay, so I am super pleased to introduce Damian Palmer. Like I said, he really is a superstar investor. I've seen his growth, how much effort he's put into his real estate career. And I talked to him this week and I said, could you please share some of your case studies, some of the things you've experienced? And like I said, he's run the beginner group. So if you're new to real estate, great person to ask questions. And you can either put them in the chat. We don't have a Q&A box, but if you have a question, put them in the chat while he's talking. And then we should have some time. So Damian, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And since we do have a smaller group, I will probably cut it short to help you guys have more of a Q&A session since we don't have like a major group coming. But to tell you a little bit about myself, I started in real estate in 2017. Before that, I was in the restaurant field. I kind of got forced into real estate because when my wife got pregnant, she ended up having a C-section and I was working in the restaurant field at that time. She was overdue. So I had family that came down and everybody was here during the time, but their time that they took off to be here, the time passed. So everybody left. So it was just her and I. So she ended up being 2 weeks overdue. And I actually had to take all my time off as well already as well. So when I joined real estate, my mom called me one day because I was actually working at Boston Market and they're like, you can't get any more time off because of that situation. And it was like, well, you already took all the time that you were allotted off at that time. And I was like, well, she was overdue and I'm not going to be able to be here full time because I had to be home with her as well. And there's like, okay, they can give me more time. And this time it was Monday. And they said, okay, this is Monday. We can give you about 4 more days, which is until Thursday. I shake my general manager hand that day and was like, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate everything you did for me, but it's not gonna work because my wife was having she had a C-section, was at home. And this day she had the C-section in the morning and I went to work in the evening. So like I was working crazy hours in the restaurant field, crazy hours. And when my wife and I came together, we were like, we had to make it sure. We weren't sure what we were going to do at the time. Real estate just ended up being the vehicle that we end up starting on. So kind of fast forward, once we started in real estate, we started in September 2017. We got our first property under contract. We started in September. We got first property under contract in November. You know, we did the thing that everybody say, go interview all the agents, and after working with this agent, we said, okay, we felt like a good fit. But after putting out so many offers consistently and getting turned down because we're investors, so we have to buy at a certain price. So we kept on putting out a lot of what they say lowball offers and kept on getting turned down. The agent that we were working with just got tired of us. He's like, you guys just keep putting out these offers. He didn't say this, but that's what ended up happening, because the last time I asked him to put out an offer, he just disappeared on me. He literally didn't say anything to me, didn't ask any questions, anything like that. He literally just disappeared on me. So I was like, you know what? I think this is the result that I'm gonna get with working with a lot of different agents, and I just start putting out offers myself. 2 days after he stopped working with me, I put out an offer to a property, and the agent was like, do you have an agent? Are you working with an agent at the time? And I'm like, no, I'm not working with an agent at the time. He ended up writing off both sides of the agreement and got the commission on both of those. That was my first project in real estate. So now I'm all excited like everybody else. You know, we got our first property on the contract. We had a hard money lender that potentially is going to close. Everything is great. You know, the world is fine. 3 days before closing, the lender that we were working with, because we were purchasing the property for 45, we're putting about 50,000 in it at the time. The lenders 3 days before closing told us that they can't close the deal because the minimum loan amount that they do is about 100,000. 3 days before closing. So we were like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, we're not going to be able to close on it. Everything else is fine. It's just the fact that it's below 100,000. That was their minimum at 100,000. I was like livid at the time, because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm losing it right now. I have no idea what we're going to do at this time. And at the time, I reached out to Stacy, actually, already, and she gave me a list of asset-based lenders. Well, asset-based lender pretty much is a lender, hard money lender. He doesn't check your credit. They fund the deal if it makes sense. So pretty much saying, as long as the numbers on the deal make sense, they will fund the deal. So they don't do appraisals. They close the deal in 3 days, because that's the type of lender. They're capable of it. We end up closing the deal. Everything was great. I loved it. We were good. You're back excited again. We love the whole situation. We started doing demo. You know, we got the architect drawings. We got the permits pulled. We started doing demo. We got it started. Started doing our framing, got the plumbing to come in. My plumber was just like, he came and ran half the plumbing 1 day, 2 days he didn't show up, third day he didn't show up. He's working on other projects, and this is my first project, so I don't even know. I'm thinking, okay, I guess this is the normal, because you know he's scheduling out, and I know he's busy, and I don't know how long it's gonna take for you to get the plumbing done on the project. It took him 3 weeks to do the plumbing on a 1,000 square foot house. Finally, he got it done. My electrician it was the next situation with my electrician. My first electrician came in, and I said, okay, he came and walked the property. Everything was fine. Everything was good. The numbers made sense. I love it. I gave him a deposit. That's the last time I saw him. I was like, wait. So my mom actually, she met him, and she called me and was like, something just don't seem right about this guy. And I'm like, Mom, it's all right, man. He's a great electrician. He came, everything worked out, this and that. She's like, he had temporary plates on his truck. I'm like, man, he probably just bought that car. It's all right. He ain't nothing wrong with that. You got a picture of his ID and everything like that, you know, took all the information and all of that. Everything was good. And then he was like, missing. No answering his phone anymore. Completely missing. That was crazy. So we hired another electrician. We found the second electrician through the GC that we were working with had a electrician that he reached out to, and they came. He came in. He took about another 2.5 weeks to get the rough part of the electrician done, because this was a full gut property. So let me rewind a little bit. Full gut property, you pretty much going there and doing everything all over again. That means you're doing over the HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and all those things. The HVAC guy came in. The HVAC guy didn't take that long. He took about 3 or 4 days to do. Well, at that time, he didn't take long for my experience with everybody else. So we finally got the walls closed up. I'm like, okay, we got all our permits, all our inspections passed. I'm calling back the electrician. He's missing. So I couldn't get in touch with the electrician no more. He was missing. He's not answering his phone. And I'm like, I need to get this project finished. So I'm calling, and I'm calling a different electrician. He comes in and tell me, you see that first electrician? Everything that he did was completely wrong. I'm like, what do you mean? We passed the rough inspection. He's like, yeah, you passed your inspection, but everything you did is wrong. I'm gonna have to go back behind him and rip out half the wires that he did and rewire the house again. And I'm like, man, I'm doing this house. I want to do it right. How much is it gonna cost me? Go ahead and do it. All right. So that's good. He came in and fixed all the electrician. So I thought fixed all the electrical parts of the house, and we're moving forward again. We're getting in to start putting in all the lightning plates and things like that. And I'm calling back the electrician. He went missing on me. So now we're on electrician number 3. He went missing on me. I'm like, okay, we need for you to come to the project. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be out there. 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 And I can't wait any longer because this is an asset-based lender. My first project, we were paying 15% and 4 points on the deal. Yes, 15% and 4 points. They were the only person that was gonna close in 3 days. So I was like, I gotta make this deal work. I called out another electrician because I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna wait. I can't wait. So this is electrician number 4. He comes in, put on all the plates, get everything going. We start turning on the power for the house, and half the sockets are not working. So now he's like, oh man, the last guy you came in here, screwed everything up. I'm gonna have to go on the wall and fix everything again. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this story again. I'm like, you sure? Because this doesn't make any sense. The last guy came in here, said he's gonna fix everything else the first guy did, and this is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. But again, during that time, I'm at his mercy right now. So I'm like, I want to get this project finished. Go ahead. He fixed everything. Everything is running properly, and this is on our 4th electrician right now. So, and think about this. Everything else is just sitting on the project because we have to get this part of it done so I can get our final inspection done. We call inspection, we fail. A lot of the things weren't grounded properly. He had to go under the crawl space and check other things. The first 2 electricians were just rigging stuff up, and it was crazy now because it's him going behind, troubleshooting, wanting to fix everything that the first guys did bad. And now it's like, he just got really frustrated. He's like, okay, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and go through it. He went missing. So now we're on electrician number 5. The electrician number 5 came in. He actually wasn't too bad. He only charged me, he's charged me per hour to do a couple stuff, and he finally got everything up and running, and we were good. All right, so everything is good. I'm calling the final inspection. So from me listening to all these electricians and going through this whole thing, I'm a master electrician right now. I just don't have my license, but I'm a master electrician because I've heard all the stories and I asked a bunch of questions, and I'm there right now. And I called in my final inspection. The inspector was coming, and the panel wasn't wired properly. So I know we were going to fail inspection because at that time they just came out with these new breakers called artwork breakers. These artwork breakers, original breakers are like $20. These artwork breakers are $50 a piece. So it wasn't wired properly. So I'm calling the electrician, hey, come, I need you to come over here like immediately. City inspectors coming over here, and he's not going to reschedule, and I can't fill this thing because I got a hard money loan. I got to get this property on the market, and I cannot have this property sit anymore. Also, if they give you 2 times of the city inspection. So if you fail 1 time, they'll give you a blight. The second time, if you fail, you have to actually pay a fee for them to come back out again. So I'm like, I'm not spending no more money on the electrician. I pulled the box apart myself and rewired it. The city inspector came out, checked everything. It was fine. We passed. So now I'm the sixth electrician on that one, and we passed. So that part of it finished. Everything is good. We just put in the laminate floors. Everything is good. I'm here on Saturday one day, and something just tell me go to the house. I go to the house. The pipe burst in the master bedroom a day after we just put in laminate floor, and it wasn't waterproof. It flooded the whole house. I literally almost cried that day. We had to go back in there and rip out 60% of the floors that was in the house. So we ripped out all the floor out the master bedroom and took out all the floor out the first part of the room. So my master bedroom now has carpet, because I'm like, I'm over budget. I can't put any other flooring in. What I could afford at that time is carpet. Okay, that's good. We got that in. 2 days after that, I'm at home. My next door neighbor called. Tree falls. This tree was leaning literally over the house. Everybody said, if that tree right there falls, it's going to split your house in half. The tree falls. So when he called and said the tree falls, I literally just put the phone down, and it was just like, oh, anything else could go wrong with this property. It is right now. Nothing doesn't even surprise me. Surprisingly, for some reason, and I'm telling you, I'm blessed, because the tree fell and it missed the house completely. And the way the tree leaned, it leaned right over the middle of the house. But for some reason, I'm telling you, it went perpendicular to the house and fell right next to the house. Didn't damage the house at all. The only thing with that, it tore down the fence, and I had to cut the tree down that we didn't budget for. Got a tree guy to come out and cut that down, but that was great. So now we call the agent to the property. This time my wife wasn't the agent at that time. We call the agent. She's getting ready to list the property. We're going over her with numbers, and she's telling us that we can't list the house for over $90,000. We already checked the comps from when we first bought the property, and we calculated around like a 140, 150. She was like, you can't sell this house for over $90,000. I mean, what do you mean we can't sell the house for over $90,000? Because she's checking comps, and the comps are like 1.5 miles out, and there's nothing that sold within that time. The only properties that sold within that time are around $90,000. And I'm like, that's crazy. So we said, listen, just go ahead and list it for 150, and we'll go from there, and we'll figure it out once we start getting people offering. We're not getting any showings, or so I'm told. We're not getting any showings. During this time, we were so frustrated with so much things going on. My wife actually went to school to become an agent during this time. Day 1 come, no showing. Day 2, day 20, day 30, day 50, day 60, day 90, day 120. Yes, the house is not selling. We're not getting any showings. I'm like, that's crazy. So I'm like, okay, let me call a buddy of mine. And it was actually DeOnna, it was Mahar. Mahar is the agent. So I tell him, hey, come walk this property with me. This property is not selling. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. But we're not selling the property. This is now, I'm into this property right now, 15% in 4 points. We're into this property about 11 months right now. So we're over a year. This was supposed to be a 3-month rehab. We're at month 11 right now. Call Mahar over, he dings the box, he walks the property, give me some pointers. We go from there. I called the agent that same day. I was like, hey, how's it going? You know, what do you think? We're not getting any showings right now. Did anybody stop by the house today? And she said, nope, nobody stopped by the house. I'm like, you sure? Nobody stopped by the house today? In my mind, I'm like, we went to the house and he's a mark. So the way you get into a property that's listed by an agent is a super box. So every time that super box gets dinged, it lets the agent know somebody went to the property. She's like, nope, nobody went to the house. I'm like, you're sure nobody went to the property at all? Nope, nobody went to the house. We're not getting any showings. I told you the house was listed too high. Pretty much, she didn't say it like that, but that's how it came across to me. I fired her. I was like, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. You gotta go. We took the house off the market. We were like, you gotta go. It doesn't work. This doesn't make any sense. My wife was still in real estate school. I was like, I'm gonna wait till she finished school and have her listed herself. So it took her a month. So I had it sitting there for like a month. We put it back on the market. Still not getting, same thing though. We put on the market, still not getting any showings. A couple of people that kind of went there, we didn't get any good feedback, you know, so we took it back off the market. And my wife was with Powerhouse Real Estate, so we called our broker, which is Amy Ransdale. She's a killer. She's great, and she does investment coaching and everything like that. And she came to the property. She's like, the house looked good. It just need a couple of things to kind of tighten it up a little bit. We went back in there. We changed the backsplash. We changed the windows in the front, and we just repainted the house. Took down the fence that was in the front of the house, listed it. And also what we did, because we were in a transitional neighborhood, we listed the other investment property that were in the neighborhood to show them, well, I understand this is a transitional neighborhood, but these are the properties that will be coming up. And although the neighborhood had a lot of vacant properties, there's investors in the neighborhood that were renovating properties at the time. We listed a property, we came back and we got a full price offer. The property ended up selling for $150, but it actually appraised for $160. So we actually could have sold the property for higher than what the agent said in the first place. But that was my first property, and then that was definitely a great experience. And I'm telling you, when that situation and everything happened for somebody first starting up, most people would have quit and be like, oh, I'm done. I'm not doing any real estate at that time. For me, you know what I did? I went out, and while all of that was going on, I went out and bought 2 more properties. I used the same hard money lender. At that time, he gave me a rate at 13 and 3. I see some, let me see if there's any questions in the chat real quick. I can talk to be in here. Okay, cool. No questions. Anybody have any questions so far? No questions? All right, that's cool. So that was one of my first experience in real estate when I first started. Go ahead.
Can you speak a little bit to, I guess, mindset as you prepare to talk about your next deal? How did you stay strong? I mean, with the property staying, you know, not being sold in that length of time and the frustration that came with that, wife's in school, like, can you kind of speak to what you do for mindset as you've been investing in and even now?
So one of the things that we did do, as you said, I'm glad you asked that question for mindset. And please, like, everybody ask questions. I feed off of people asking questions. It definitely go. If you have anything, nothing is a dumb question. Ask as much questions as you can, because that helps you a lot more than me. I could stay up here and talk all day, but you asking questions can help you in a specific part of your business right now. So please ask as much questions as you can. For me, in the mindset when we first started, and I'm telling you, the first thing in anything you start is your mindset. Your mindset will dictate anything you do here on after. We gave ourselves 2 options when we started real estate, and we said the 2 options we're giving ourselves is we're gonna either make it work or we're gonna make it happen. Those are the 2 options we gave ourselves. It was sink. There's no sink or swim. It was swim or swim. We don't have a plan B. There's nothing else after real estate. This has to work, and that's what we gave ourselves, that option. You have to make it work, and that was it. And the way you have to make it work is surrounding yourself with the people, the right mindset. Anybody that came around us at that time was like, yeah, because even my family was like, oh, you guys are doing real estate? I don't know, you know, this is risky and things like that. We're like, oh, yeah, I'm not hanging around you anymore. Oh, I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, I'm not hanging around you anymore. I'm keeping myself around positive people that are gonna help lead me to the goal that I want to accomplish. And it's kind of funny because I started off with what my goal is, and then I reverse engineering to say, okay, what do I have to do to accomplish those things? And that's kind of what kept us through that time. And it really is just surrounding myself during that time, reaching out to Stacy a lot, surrounding ourselves with people from South Atlanta REIA. Now it's REI for the nationwide, but at that time it was South Atlanta REIA. It was really just surrounding yourself with people that are actively in real estate and doing it. So every time somebody celebrated something, and that's one of the things we did too, I celebrate every single win in the business. You could do two things in your business. You could celebrate your loss or celebrate your wins. You said, I don't, nobody celebrate loss. Yes, you do. Because every time you sit down and mope and say, oh man, this didn't go right, and you focus on that, that's you celebrating that loss. So guess what that's going to bring? Every time something goes bad now, that's what you're going to expect. And you're going to make it even harder on yourself. And you're going to beat yourself up with the word, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And you're always going to say, I should have done that, and I should have did this, and I should have did this, and I should have listened to this person. And those are the worst words for you to use, because you beat yourself up with should. So one of the things we did was celebrate every single win. Okay, the tree fell, that's good. It didn't hit the house. I celebrated that win. The plumbing burst, okay, that's fine. The floor got damaged. I celebrated the fact that, okay, it's just the floors that got damaged. And those are the things that really we had to do at that time, because there's times I felt like quitting and start back driving, drive Uber. And I was like, nope, we're gonna do it, because guess what? We told ourselves from the beginning, we cannot quit. That's not an option. I didn't give myself an option to quit. And that's one of the things that started off making us move. This property right here behind me, this was a tricky one. The investor that bought this property behind me, the house was built in 2008. He bought it for $10,000. Yes, a 1,700 square foot house. He bought it for $10,000. I had a partner that first partner with me, well, was going to partner with me on this one and purchase it. And he was like, I'm not buying no house from an investor that just bought it for $10,000. He was selling it to us for $80,000. He was like, I'm not buying a house from an investor that just bought this house for $10,000. You really gonna buy that house for $80,000? And he flaked on me, and he was like, oh, so I said, okay. I went and jumped in it myself. We end up getting a different contractor to come out here. The thing that I learned from our first project, so guess what now? We're not putting down any deposits. We're buying all the material. We're not giving you any deposits. You're not getting any money from me until the nail have to hit the wood. You have to work for like a week first before we pay out any type of capital to you right now. And it's not even about a week. We say, okay, this is what has to get done before the check is released. And if it's not done and you have one more paint stroke to do and you didn't do it, you're not getting the check. And that's how we started structuring our payment schedule. And that's what's actually saved us on this property. The contractor came in, the numbers made sense. This property built in 2008, so we didn't have to do plumbing. We just was updating the bathrooms, updating the kitchen, finishing the floors and going. So we were like, okay, this should be 45 days to get in and out. Yeah, it took us 6 months. Contractor came in, first day came, it was him by himself. I'm like, okay, first day he's just looking and assessing the situation. Second day came, I'm like, okay, where's the rest of your crew at? He's like, yeah, you just missed them. They went for lunch. And every day it kept on different story. But the thing is, he was there every day and he was consistent every day. So I'm like, okay, he's there every day, consistent from morning to night. He's very consistent. So I'm like, okay, he's consistent. He's not trying. And then a couple of days after that, he started having more people come there. So I'm like, okay, I wasn't worried about it. So at that time now, he's working. He finished the downstairs piece. He finished upstairs piece. He's finished the back piece. He's been on this piece. He's doing this piece, and he's getting a lot of work done. But he's never accomplishing one full job to get a payment. So he worked for me for about 3 months without getting a payment, because the way my structure was, you have to finish a job to get paid. And I was telling him, like, he'll ask me for a check, and I'm like, okay, I'll give you a half a check for all the things that you did halfway, but I'm not giving you any full checks because you're not finished any of these things halfway. He kept on going and finally finishing it. One day while I was home, he called me and was like, how long these guys are going to be in the house? I'm like, what do you mean, how long are you going to be in the house? Some guys came to the house and they were shooting a music video, and they told him that I told them they can go to my house and shoot a music video. I come to the property, it's about 15 guys in the house. 15 guys in the house. So, these are real transitional neighborhoods when we were doing this. About 15 guys in the house. They had prop guns, so they said, and we're in the property, my wife and I, and like, okay, what's going on? Who did you speak to about? So they said they spoke to the owner about renting out the property. I'm like, the owner? I am the owner, and ain't nobody ain't pay me anything like that or give me anything or say anything like that about me coming to the property. And they start getting upset. Well, they paid this guy to come to the house, and well, I'm saying I'm the owner, so nobody didn't talk to me about it. So you guys gotta go. They're like, well, they started up, so I'm a softie. So I said, okay, you guys can shoot one more, and then you're out. So we walked back out to the car. 20, 30 minutes later, they're still in there. We were like, you know what? I just called the cops. I called the cops. I went back inside, like, listen, I called the cops. You guys got to get out of here. This is not making any sense. They started getting mad at me and wanted to fight me. And I'm like, listen, this don't make any sense because you guys, this is not your property. You guys in here trying to shoot a video. It doesn't make any sense. And this guy starts screaming at me and doing all that. I'm like, yo, you can scream all you want, but you still got to get out. And I should have probably handled it better at that time, but in hindsight, it's 2020. By the time the police came, I argued with these guys for a good like hour, and then they finally left, and then the police came while they were leaving. It was crazy. But back to my contractor now. My contractor's standing outside. He finally goes back in there. We finally get everything finished with this project. There was just a couple of stuff left, and he had to do the HVAC system, the bathroom upstairs, and a couple paint jobs, touch-up paint jobs inside the house. He went missing on me. When I first bought the property, I forgot to tell you, he told me, oh, this is a light rehab. You don't have to pull any permits. He went missing on me and then came back, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? This is not going to work. I need this finished by this time. He said he can't get it done. I said, listen, I'm giving you a deadline. And if you can't finish all this in a week time, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to let you go. He said, all right, he's going to finish in a week. The week came, he didn't finish. I said, listen, I'm done. I'm giving you one more week. If you don't finish it, you're done. And you see, I'm a softie, right? So I keep giving people chances. I keep giving them chances. Next week came, he still wasn't finished. I said, you know what? You're done. You're fired. When we first bought it, he was holding the HVAC system, the outside unit for me because I didn't want anybody to steal it at the time. And he took the HVAC system, he left, and I ended up just hiring another contractor to come in and finish it. Everything looked good. And then he called the city on me and told them that I didn't pull permits on the job. So the city gave me a stop work order on this project. The city finally came in, they did an inspection. We got everything to code with the next contractor that came in, and then we started working. The deck though in the back, the city said, oh, this deck was huge. He's like, you know what? This deck is actually not built to code. I spent about $4,000 on the deck. He's like, you got to tear the deck back down because it's not built to code and rebuild this deck. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? He's like, yep, it's not supported properly. You got to tear the whole deck down. I'm like, and also you have to get a survey because we never get a survey when we didn't do it. I'm like, what? So pretty much in Atlanta, what it is, anytime you're touching any dirt or adding any deck or addition or anything like that, you have to do a survey first on the property, and then you get a permit, and they allow you to tell you where you can put the deck, or if you even can put the deck on the property. So we finally got all of that through. We finally got this property up and sold. I mean, we finally got everything to code. The city came out and inspected it. We passed all our inspections, and then that was great. Any questions about that one so far? And I'm telling you, you guys have to ask some questions, man. Hard money loans are only for buying, fix, and flips. No, you could use hard money loans as well on rental properties. So they have hard money lenders that fund rental properties as well. It's their interest rates are just a little bit higher, but it's definitely okay.
So what do you mean when you say that you can buy them on rentals too? Like something that doesn't require fix and flip, and you just want to turn around and do, let's say, an Airbnb or
yes,
a shorter long-term rental?
Yes, they'll do those because sometimes what we do, we'll get a hard money lender. Well, not us, but sometimes what you can do is get a hard money lender to renovate the property and then turn around and they'll do a 30-year loan on it to turn it into a rental property. And a hard money lender will do that, but they do charge a higher interest rate. So typically like the rental that we have a rental right now, we did it in our personal name and then changed it into our LLC just to get a better interest rate. So the loan itself is in our personal name, but the property's in our LLC name, so that we got a much lower interest rate.
So I could initially get a hard money loan in my LLC. And if it doesn't require any type of fixing up or whatever, they'll give it to me. And what are the requirements for like a hard money loan?
It depends how's your credit, how long your depend on what company you use. Sometimes some of them will ask you how long you have to be at least 2 years in the business. The ones that you don't have to be 2 years in the business, their interest rates are going to be a little bit higher, and those ones will be an asset-based lender. As long as the rent is covering the mortgage, they'll fund it. But again, it just depends on which hard money lender you're going. The rates are kind of all over, anywhere from about 4% to about 8%. It all depends on what lender you go to.
And how did you happen to find a hard money lender?
So we used a traditional lender. Well, are you talking about for rentals, or are you talking about for rehabs?
Both. How do you look for that type of lender?
So the first 2 properties that we did was just reaching out. We just really reached out to I literally Googled asset-based lender, and that's how I found the first one. But now you can reach out to people in the network, and there's so much different lenders that's part of REI Group. And if you're part of the network, there's so much that there should be a syllabus that tells you different lenders that are part of the network.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
So if we go with hard money lender for rental property, then do we need to put any down payment for that?
Yes, you do.
Do you know how many percent is like 20% off?
It all depends. Again, it depends on what type of lender you're using, which lender you're using. Every lender have a different criteria. So you just really have to reach out to different lenders and find out what their criteria is.
Okay.
And can you refinance a hard money loan like maybe a couple of years in, or what is the time frame if you want to refinance?
Potentially, if you're doing a flip with a hard money loan, they're usually shorter. They're going to do like 6 months to a year, and then potentially you have to refi out of it without that time if you're using it for a flip loan. If you're using it as a rental loan, then they'll do just anything anywhere from like 10 to 15, 20, 30 year, all depending on the company.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So I'm glad you guys brought that up. I can actually talk about the property that I'm in right now is our personal home. And within that time, after the second property now, and still going through that contractor issues and things like that, we end up buying about 10 properties after that, and we just went crazy with rehabs, and we've done about 19 or 20 rehabs during that. After that time, we started wholesaling a lot more. So since we've started in this business, we started in 2017, we've renovated about 20 properties, but we've bought and sold about 50. And what we don't typically wholesale, we typically just buy everything and then either list it or sell it off market. It all kind of depend. I probably did about 2 or 3 traditional wholesale deals that we do assignments with. And have anybody here doing wholesaling? Nobody?
So are all your deals wholesale? I mean, not wholesale, all your deals flips, or are you holding any of these properties?
Yes, I'm this year we're starting to do hold. So this year we're really targeting hold. So kind of tell you about the property that I am living right now is our personal property. But I bought it to be an Airbnb. I used to live in Douglasville, and we moved out of Douglasville. We're renovating that one, and I'm refining it right now to turn it into a traditional rental. This one we renovated, and we're gonna turn this into an Airbnb. This property, we bought it from a wholesaler for 65. We put about 80 into it, and then we did a cash out refi in it. So when at the closing table, we actually got $20,000, and we didn't have to put anything down because the equity on the property covered everything. And we had this deal funded by a private lender.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of gonna ask you next. So your model for, I guess, moving forward is for your holds are the refinance them.
Yes, and it's pretty much, that's called the Burr method.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the way I'm looking at it is you can go and put down the 20% and do all of that to buy the property. But for us, I'm like, why? I can go to a hard money lender or even get a private lender, buy the property, renovate it. So when the tenant moves in, everything is brand new in the property, and I can make the equity pay for the property. So I don't have to come out of pocket at all. So that way I keep my money to myself and then make the property pays for itself.
So on those type of deals that you're doing, just, I know it's hard to give numbers because every deal is different. So just in general, like how much are you usually coming in out of pocket?
I don't put any of my own money in any.
Not putting nothing.
Yeah, and the deals that I'm doing right now, I don't put any of my own money into it potentially, but it all depends on the situation. Sometimes I try not to. Sometimes I do because of whatever circumstances at that time. But I really don't, because I want to use my money to leverage it with other potential investment opportunities. So I use my money to invest into other things and then use lenders. And although, yeah, it might be cheaper for me to use my own money, but then I'd rather use a private lender funds, give them better interest rates than they're getting right now, because most our Roth IRAs or most other traditional sources that they're using to store their money are giving them 1%, 2%, 3%. We're paying anywhere from 6 to 10% on interest rate. So we're giving them better interest rate than they're getting from any bank right now. So why not leverage your capital with a property that now you're going to become pretty much the bank and securing your funds with the property, because you become the first lien holder when you use your money in a private lender situation. Make sense?
Yeah, most definitely.
So are you still using hard money lenders?
Now we after the first year we stopped using hard money lenders because the rates were just too high. Right now we're paying our private lenders anywhere from like 8 to 10% on most of the deals, and also going into the market with, I can go to a seller right now and tell them I could close today. Deon, do I have sharing capabilities?
Yes, let me double check and make sure it's not.
I can show you guys something real quick.
So in my situation,
is it working for you now?
Yeah, I think I do. Go ahead.
Okay.
My situation, I ended up losing my job at the end of last year. I had been there for like 7 years, and I ended up losing my job at the end of the year due to COVID. So right now I'm not working with a lot of money because I'm unemployed, if you will. And that's when I decided to pivot into real estate and everything. So how challenging would it be for me to try and get something and work with these lenders at this point?
So
because I don't have that 2 year in, like you said, or that you mentioned.
So again, it's for you to really start doing your research on different hard money lenders and figuring out what's their criteria, because everybody don't ask, oh, were you talking for rehab and flip, or for rental?
Well, I was wanting to start off with rental, but I mean, I don't know if it would be more advantageous to start off with fix and flips, or if I should just go on in and
So before you even find out fix and flips or rental, you have to figure out what's your goal in real estate. What are you wanting to accomplish on the long term? Because that will kind of dictate what you're doing in the future.
So preferably I would like to do short-term rentals. But, in order to start, getting the capital, I guess, initially, I know maybe fix and flips might be the route to go. I don't know. But what do you advise?
So for me, what I looked at is, when I first started, we actually started doing rehabbing, like what you're saying. And then we actually started doing wholesale after, because wholesale deal will get you the quick funds that you need to build up your capital right now. I would say anybody starting off in the business right now, and this is what one of my coaches tell me, will focus on really right now. If you're not cash heavy to jump on a bunch of rentals and things like that, build up your capital right now, whether it's rehab or wholesaling. Build up 6 months to a year worth of savings, and then start doing your buy and hold or your short-term rentals and things like that, because you don't want to be in a situation where you own 3 or 4 properties and you see the forbearances right now. What if you have a tenant and they stop paying? Can you cover, are you capable to cover that mortgage for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months right now? Because they're giving forgiveness for tenants, but they're not giving forgiveness for landlords. So if you're not capable to take care of that mortgage for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, I wouldn't tell anybody to get into rental properties right now, because then you're going to set yourself up for failure. One of my coaches right now have 10 properties that are not performing, and he's been paying the rent for about going on 10 months right now. So if you can't do that, I'm going to be calling you as an investor like, hey, your renters are not paying right now. I can buy your property for you for half of what you paid for it. Or I'm going to come to you and tell you, hey, let me get your property on a subject to deal where I take over the mortgage so don't mess up your credit.
So subject to, can you go a little into what that means, or what that's like?
So subject to is pretty much saying you're assuming the mortgage. So a lot of times, say even landlords right now, do you have a property that's it's going into foreclosure, or you're getting ready to go into bankruptcy, or whatever the situation might, you might not even have to be in that situation. The person just want to get out of the property and they don't want it to affect their credit. You're assuming the mortgage, and they're going to deed the property over to you, and you're going to take over the mortgage payment. The people wholesale those deals too, but I don't suggest people do that, because if you wholesale a property to somebody else and that person don't take care of the mortgage, then you're responsible for it initially. So just be very careful. I'm not an attorney, so definitely reach out to DeOnna. She could definitely help you out on stuff like that, right? Right, Dee?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We got a quiet room tonight, I'm telling you. Y'all guys must be doing great. No questions at all?
We were asking.
Huh?
We were asking questions.
That's good. That's good. I appreciate it.
That's the same house.
Yep, this is the same house. So this house, I'll tell you a story about this house right here.
Hey, Damian, this is Lori. Just wanted to say hey.
Hey, what's up, Lori? How you doing?
Hey, doing good. That's my husband. We didn't realize we were unmuted. So
no, you good.
Hi, Lori.
Hi there. Hi. I've talked to my husband about you and your wife, so he's all in. We're just listening. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, man. I appreciate you. This house is I went on the contract with this house 3 times before I purchased it. The seller, it was a wholesaler that owned, well, he was an investor, I should say. He wasn't a wholesaler. He does wholesale, but he owned this property outright. He had it listed for $75,000. At the time, I'm like, yeah, 75 could make sense. I went on the contract, 0 days due diligence, put down my earnest money, and after going through it a couple of times, the numbers didn't make sense for us. And I was like, you know what? I lost my earnest money on the deal. It didn't close. The second time I went back on the contract, because it was like 6 months later and he was selling it again. I had another investor that wanted to look at the property and potentially we partnered on it. And we went through, we ran the numbers. The hard money lender said, nope, the ARV, you're not going to be able to sell it for over 180. It doesn't make sense. And we end up not closing on it at that time. I lost my earnest money again. He called me back like a week later and told me, what would make sense for you to buy this property? He said, really and truly, it was 75, if you sell it to us for 50, I could close on it. This was Wednesday morning, he called me. He said, if you can close on it this afternoon at $50,000, I'll give it to you. We end up closing the next morning because we had to get some paperwork and stuff situated, but we end up closing that the next morning. But we potentially, if everything was good with the closing attorney, we could have closed the same day. We end up closing the next morning for $50,000. So we walked the property. We're like, yep, the property had 7-foot ceilings. And we're like, okay, this is all right. We're just gonna renovate this house, just take the roof off and do some simple stuff. after going through it and did demo on it, this is what the house looked like. So after we demoed it, so we said, okay, we're gonna keep all the stuff that we think that makes sense on the house. So after we demoed it, this is what the house looked like. Everybody see that picture? Yeah, that's what the house looked like. So our initial budget just went up. So I'm talking to my framers right now, like, okay, that's okay. Let's just frame up the back of the house. Can we keep anything in the front of the house? They're like, yeah, but by the time they keep fixing, it don't make sense for us to keep the front of the house. So we end up doing this. Framed up the back, and then we tore down the front of the house and framed it up. The house was originally 7-foot ceilings. We end up making it 10-foot ceilings with 15-foot vault on the right-hand side. So we pretty much built a new house on the existing foundation. We cleaned up all that stuff too. It was crazy because this was a standing fireplace and it just collapsed and it just fell down. So I'm just showing you more pictures of what the framing looked like on this property. We end up just getting it done. It took them 4 days to frame this house up. So it took them 4 days to get the house from where it was to here right now.
Damian, when you finished, can you tell me where you were all in at if you purchased a house at 50?
Yes, definitely. So with this house, we calculated $80 a square foot, and this was 1,200 square foot house. Let me tell you exactly where we were. Let me pull the numbers up and let you know. So typically when we do our renovation budgets anywhere from $80 a square foot to $85 a square foot, all depending on what the work. So this was a 1,200 square foot house, and we did it at $80 a square foot. Our renovation budget was $96,000 on this house.
So how do you come up with that number?
So now we work with a completely different crew. My framers now, we've been working for about a year or so, but my plumber, electrician, HVAC guy, roofer, I've been working with them for about 3 years now. So I know what their numbers are. So with basing off of when we finish the house where it is, we calculate, okay, the house is, we spent this to finish the house divided by the square foot, and that's what gave us what our renovation budget is. So well, how much money you spent divided by the square footage of the property, that gave me, okay, how much per square foot we built the house at. So that's what we start using for our renovation budget moving forward. Make sense?
Yeah, excuse me, yes. So it sounds like because you work with the same crew.
Yes.
You guys were able to come up with that. So is that kind of like a norm or a standard?
Well, I have people that I did a host a meeting last Saturday, and I was talking to a young lady. She is doing 5 rehabs right now. Her renovation budget is $50 a square foot. And I don't know how she's doing it, but that's crazy because even when I first started, our renovation budget was like $70 a square foot. She's at $50 a square foot right now. And that's almost unheard of, but that's where she's at right now. So again, it just depends on your team and your specifics, because I could bring this same house to somebody else and they're gonna tell me it's gonna cost $150,000 to rebuild this house. And it's not to say they're wrong, but the crew that they're working with, that's just the numbers. So as you see, nothing old in the house, everything is new. All brand new electrical, plumbing, HVAC.
And so are you actually on site when all of the work is taking place every day?
Not every day, because after framing, I'm on site almost pretty much every day for framing, because framing is very, 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 that's gonna dictate the rest of your project. Because if your framing is off, and these guys do all their electrical and plumbing and stuff like that, run their wire through and your framing is bad, you have to pull all that wire back through, you have to pull all that pipe back through. So for the framing part of it, I'm always there. And also sometimes the architect drawing is a little off, and the layout that he initially drew, it didn't really fit the space, and it wasn't at what I perceived it to be initially. and then I turn back around and just readjust it at that time. So I have to be on site to like, hey, switch to this one. We actually turned the master bedroom, we flipped it all the way around. So that happens a lot, where what the plan's saying, what's allowable at the property, what made sense. So a lot of time I'm there for just for the framing part. For electrical, I don't have to be there. Plumbing, I don't have to be there. HVAC, I don't have to be there. Sheetrock, I don't have to be there, just because I've worked with those guys so long and I'm confident in what they're doing. I stop in, but I'm not there every day for that part of it.
Thank you.
So as you see how neat the work is, you see how neat the job site is. So if your job site is not looking like this, when the city inspector come in, they're gonna ask a lot more questions. But if they come in here and looking at it like this, the job site is real clean. The work that they're doing is neat. The electrician, none of the wires are excessively long. It's real tight. Everything is stapled. You see the panel box is real neat. Except for that thing right there, but it's all right though. That's they can give it one sloppy thing. But that's the one thing though. On my job site, there's a note that says, I'm not paying you a check if the job site is dirty. So if I come on payday and the job site look a mess, I'm not paying you. So those are stipulations that you need to put in your contracts. Every time something happens, I add it to my contract. Every time something new happens,
That is good.
that causes me a problem, I add it to my contract.
Yes, that's so important, you guys. When you think about your contracts, these headaches that he's mentioning, I always tell you guys, put it in your notes. And then when you have your meeting with your attorney, whoever you're working with, you want to say, hey, these are the things I need to be in here. These are the new standards that I want implemented. How do I get this written in my contract? That's excellent, Damian.
So you see this, how I barricade the back door? One day, some of my cousins came and stole out the copper wire from the HVAC system. So we have cameras and alarm system. The minute power goes to the house, we have cameras and alarm systems there, because we're in transitional neighborhoods. So before, this was a vacant property. Now it's not anymore. But the guy that lived in this neighborhood before, and this was always a vacant property, now you're renovating it. It's open season on investors.
Yeah, great to hear. Thank you.
I had a property where they stole the front door. The house is fully renovated. It has appliance, furniture, everything ready to go on the market, and all they stole was the front door. And it was crazy because when we walked the house, we were like, wait, what's going on? Just the front door was missing, and they didn't kick in the door. They took it off neatly.
Wow. So when you're looking at different neighborhoods, are you looking at neighborhoods that are maybe going through like regentrification?
Definitely.
Or
Yeah, because those are the neighborhoods where you can push your numbers. So if I go in a neighborhood that's already established, you can't really push your numbers because the numbers are solid in that neighborhood already. So I can't go in there and say, okay, I went over budget a little bit. Let me raise the price of my house and I'm going to get it back. This house, remember I told you the hard money lender, when I was going to partner with the guy, said 184 is the highest we can sell it for. Mm-hmm. We were the highest selling house in this area. The appraiser had to go out 2 miles to find a comp that was comparable to this property because of the quality of work that we did. This appraised for $205,000.
Wow. So where do you go looking? Do you go out driving around and just looking that way, or do you use any tools like on the internet or?
Honestly, I buy a lot of 50% of my deals are from wholesalers. The other 40% are listed properties, and 10% are through marketing. We're driving for dollars, skip tracing, DeOnna do lists, so you can buy that are good too. So things like that. But really and truly, most of my properties that I bought are from listed properties are from wholesalers.
Damian, this is Lori again. Question for you.
Hey.
Where are you? Okay, so you said you're getting most of them from wholesalers. You are seeing the numbers going up a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah. So do you pretty much, what you're doing with that is basically just still working in those areas that you can push the comps. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. So I have 7 properties under contract right now, 4 lots and 3 houses. I have 1 property that we own outright. That's another story in itself, where I bought a house and a squatter fell asleep in it and it burnt down. But the 3 of those deals I got from wholesalers, where one of them, it was under contract with a wholesaler. He had it under contract for 170. He couldn't close it, and I reached out to him because of relationship. I said, "Hey, would you mind giving me that homeowner phone number?" And he gave it to me. We got the property under contract for 145, and that's where he needed to be at the time. We're still gonna pay him a fee because he brought us towards the homeowner, although he didn't give it to us, but it's through a relationship. We're gonna make sure we take care of him as well.
Damian, this is Janelle. Similar to the what you stated about making sure that the property is clean on payday, what else do you have in your contract that's similar to that with the contractors you're hiring?
So one of the things I have too is timeline. I go to say, okay, we're saying the tile guy, for instance, how long is it going to take for you to do the tile? 4 days. On day 5, I'm taking $100 out of your paycheck, out of your pay. And that's in my contract to say, if you're not finished, $100 a day until it's finished. But on the same note is if he says 4 days and he finished it in 2, I want to also give him some incentive for that too. I'll give him $100 or $200 extra too, because you can't just always penalize people. You have to take care of them as well, because you get further with honey than you do with everything else.
Absolutely, thank you. And secondly, you mentioned getting 40% of your deals on the market. Is that with the broker? What are you doing to get your deals off of the MLS?
It's listed. I don't even use, my wife is an agent and I don't even use the MLS. I get all my properties off of Zillow. Zillow has changed now where you can't, before you can get agents' information, Zillow so since Zillow became a brokerage, you can no longer get agents' information. You have to go on the MLS or use realtor.com or one of the other services. But I'll just go on it, find out whichever agent's listing them, and I'll call them. As a matter of fact, I'd even call them at first. I just send text message. Hey, my name is this. This is the property address I'm reaching out to you about. This is my offer. This is when I can close. This is my due diligence. And I send a text message out. I used to send out 10 of those a day. And that's how I used to close a lot of properties in the past.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you're using that tactic in Metro Atlanta, and the numbers are working?
I got a property right now that one of the properties I have on the contract right now is listed. They had it listed for 170. The house was built in 2008. I text the agent, we're on the contract at 150. The house literally just needs countertops, bathroom update the floors, and the ARV is 270.
And you said it was listed for how much?
170.
Really?
Wow. The problem why it couldn't sell because a FHA buyer or a VA buyer couldn't buy it, and it wasn't appealing enough for a conventional buyer. Go ahead.
No, I want you to finish because I'm sure it's something.
And then what happens too? A lot of investors will look at it and be like, I'm not gonna offer 150 because the prices are too high right now, and they're not gonna accept it. I've gotten properties that was listed for 80,000 for 35,000. One of the properties I bought before, it was listed for 120. I got it for 80 because I just submitted an offer.
Okay, so basically,
go ahead.
Sounds like you're saying that the properties that are listed on the MLS, from the investor standpoint, the price is too high, but you then go and underbid and the offers get accepted. Is that correct?
Be careful what you say. So I don't underbid. I bid the number that makes sense for me.
Okay, gotcha. So your offer is just below asking, I guess is the best way.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect.
Because a lot of times what happened is when I put out an offer, the agents will say exactly what you said. Oh, you're just trying to lowball me. No, I'm not. I'm not lowballing you at all. I'm just telling you the offer that makes sense for my business strategy. This is the offer that it's allowing me to offer you guys right now.
Okay, Damian, this is Lori again. I got to chime in on that. So I am a agent investor, well, investor agent. I've been with Keller Williams 15 years and been flipping for 4. And guys, he is exactly right. We just had this conversation in our team meeting today. The agents were like, well, what are we to do? And my broker was like, you've got to go and you've got to let your buyers know to offer what's going to work for them, even though they see what it's listed for. And when they're paying cash and they can close a lot quicker and they're not waiting, on a loan, and then hopefully nothing goes wrong. So we just talked about this today in our team meeting. So he is dead on it as far as, spot on point with that. It sounds crazy, but it works.
This property right here, it was listed for $120,000, and it was listed and we bought it for $80,000 because we walked in and was like, listen, for what we need to do, this was the master bedroom. You could even walk on this floor because it was all rotten. We end up having to tear that, like half the house, the whole back of the house had to get torn out. The whole back part, even this part, all of that, we had to tear all the way out. I don't have these pictures organized as well as the other one, but I can show you what it looked like when it was finished. This is it right here. So we love vaulting. So we vault everything. If you see a house that I've done is not vaulted, I must be sick or something. I vault everything. And my wife.
What neighborhood?
This is Northwest Atlanta, so this is Center Hill. And this is that same house that we just seen. We like open up walls. And as you see, right, you could put this house in Buckhead.
What percentage do you hold versus flip?
So at this last year, we were just selling. This year we're keeping 80% right now and gonna do about 20% flip. But last year we're just all selling. This year we're starting to hold a lot more.
So what are some things that you do to determine how much work a house needs? You take the contractor with you to kind of determine that when you're checking it out?
No, not right now. From being there all the time, I've been doing it enough now to kind of have a good idea of what it's gonna take. So I don't bring any contractors or anything like that with us right now.
But initially, when you started off,
yes, no, I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. But I should have, if that makes sense.
So you're saying that probably would be a good strategy. Take a general contractor, get some idea, and then that's you're able to come up with the price on how much you're able to purchase a house for, right?
This house was listed for $85,000. We bought it for $30,000. So this was a fun one. After demoing it, we're like, listen, again, we had to scrape it. So we end up bringing it all the way to the foundation. And so you see, we don't cut corners. Like and this is something that I show the homeowners when we're selling the property, and they love it because they could see behind the walls. We're not the investors that are gonna hide anything that we do. I give them a full set of the pictures of the process that we're doing the whole time. And the homeowners love these things because they can see what we're doing, that we did the job the right way. We're not cutting any corners. We see we keep using the same colors, right? Keep it simple, man. We use the same tiles, the same colors. I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel. It don't make any sense for you to do that. Once you start getting certain things, like I've used the tile so much on projects where they stopped doing it and I had to literally look for a different one because they didn't do it anymore. I think it's not the final picture. Let me see if I have the final pictures here. I have a couple of different folders. You see, this is a different house right here. Same situation where same colors. Guess what? When I have to paint with this one, I just bring it right to the next house. I don't have to worry about, I have too much paint. See, same color again, white and black. Every single property is same color. I might change the door color or something like that. I don't have more pictures of that other one, but that's what we pretty much do. keep it as simple as possible. We don't want to make it hard for ourselves, and we do it like that. This one is a fun one. Let me show you this one. This one, where it is. This one right here. We bought this property. We had it fully funded. I had a contractor on it, and it was a burned property before. We scraped it like how we did the other ones. The contractor told me he pulled permits and he didn't. So we were scaling so much last year. So we actually brought a contractor in on 3 of the projects. This was one of them. And the rest of them, I just managed to sub myself. So the contractor told me he pulled a permit. I'm sorry. The contractor didn't pull a permit on it. We got a stop work order. I bought this house for $35,000 where he already scraped the house and we started building it. He didn't pull a permit. Now you could actually go on in Atlanta, you could go on, there's a website you could go on to check if the permit was actually pulled, and also inspections that they do, you can actually check if it was passed before you pay them. After we framed it up like this, the city told us, nope, you can't do that. The backyard is in a flood zone. The house is good, but backyard is in a flood zone. So after all this framing was there, they said you have to raise the whole entire house 2 foot for you to come in compliance. Remember, I bought this house for $35,000. We sat on this for like 8 months. COVID hit, everything was out of whack. We couldn't get it done. I sold back the house exactly like this for $95,000. Everybody listening? Bought it for $35,000. We framed it up to this point right here. Got stuck in city planning and just said, you know what? Let's list it and see what we get for it. We sold it for $95,000. Just like this. The person's gonna turn around, he scraped it, he raised it 2 foot, and he's gonna do a modern build.
Wow. I know you said that DeOnna has some lists that, we can get from her as far as homes. I believe they're like liens, divorces, and foreclosures. But don't some of those require you go through the courts to obtain them, or?
So that's what DeOnna do. She does that part of it, right, DeOnna? That's what you do. You go through the court and do those already, so we don't have to.
Yes. So the list that we provide with Law Clerk on Demand, this is fresh court research, and so the probates, the evictions, the divorce are great sources to target as you look for properties. And we actually just got in all of our new lists on the 1st, so this is like perfect timing. I'm gonna put my website in the chat. I know a lot of you are already on my email list, but if you order from us, you're gonna be getting the freshest information. I know earlier we were talking about like landlords and evictions and stuff like that, so that's a really good list to target. And if you're here in Georgia, a lot of our lists are gonna include phone numbers, so literally as soon as you get your list, you can call people, text people, or send mail.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for that, DeOnna. This is actually the property that I'm sitting in right now. This is our personal property. And you see, I think we picked the worst of the worst properties to renovate. As you see, we don't have any easy renovations to say. This one, we actually bought it. They had an addition on the back. We end up pretty much just tearing the addition down, and then we added a whole master suite on the back. With this one, we end up tearing off all the decking board off the roof. And that's the thing. A lot of time people tell you, hey, I like demoing the house before I make my framers and stuff walk it, because a lot of time you'll get a quote and then you demo it and then the quote changes because there's a lot of stuff that you can't see behind the wall. If a contractor give you a quote for a property and the walls are still up, sheetrock is still up, and it's a full gut, that number is wrong. No, I don't care what anybody tell me, that number is wrong, because it's impossible for you to see what's going on. I had a contractor, he's a great contractor. They tore down the wall. 80% of the house had termite damage. They had to reframe 80% of the house, which they didn't see it before. So again, there's no contractor that could tell me a price and I stick with it. And that's why I just have my framers. I have everything subbed out. I have a framer, electrician, plumber, foundation guy, sheetrock guy, and a roofer. And I just have those guys come in and do what they do. The insulation guy, everybody come in during their part and do what they have to do. I got a guy that does grading. So like I get the full team. I actually laid the sod myself. It was our personal home. So I was like, you know, I wanted to do something to be like, okay, I helped to do that. And then all my fixtures, I buy them from Amazon. Before I was buying stuff from Amazon, we were spending like $4,000 on fixtures. We spend about $2,000 on fixtures right now. All my fixtures are Amazon. This pipe right, that wine cooler, Amazon. This right here, Amazon, 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 Amazon.
He got 20 handles. He got 20 handles for.
Okay. Yeah, man. So
you had to give it your own personal touch since it was your own.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, the thing is, when you're doing renovations, you want to do things. I don't want to do it too personal because I don't know if other people are gonna like it. So
no, I just meant for your own home.
Oh yeah. But when we did this one, we started to say some of the things that we did in our personal home, we'll do it in our renovation designs, because I think it came out good, and I don't think that it'll be something that people don't like.
Okay.
Let me see, like some of the, see if I got the, like this was pretty neat. We vault the ceilings here, and then we put a wood veneer on the flat face of it. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, especially with that door.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So definitely. Anybody have any other questions? And then even the master bathroom, we don't have any walls. We don't have any walls in our master bathroom. It literally opens right up into our master bedroom. Let me see if I have a better picture of the full. Yeah, so this is the master bathroom. This is how it is. It's just open.
Okay. It's nice.
Amazing. Guys, can we just say thank you to Damian? Damian, you came in here and killed it, as I knew you would.
I got one.
Yes, thank you.
I got one quick question.
Okay.
You had mentioned getting private investors, and I was a little bit unclear of how they were working for you differently than hard money investors. I don't know if you can touch on that.
Sure. So a private investor could be you. You have 100,000 in your 401k right now. Your 401k is going to be paying you probably 3 or 2% on the interest rate. I come to you and present one of these deals that I have working, but not even that. Before that, I would come to you and potentially tell you about opportunities that we constantly have. And I'll talk to you about changing your regular 401k into a solo 401k. Solo 401k is self-directed. That allows you checkbook access, where now you control the funds and now you control where you want to invest. Your regular 401k does the exact same thing. Only thing is somebody else is managing. So once you turn your 401k into a solo 401k, you can now come to me and say, hey, Damian, I got $100,000 that I want to lend. How can you make that work for me? Then I present whichever deal that I'm working on. And we typically don't like using more than 2 private lenders at a time on a deal, but sometimes we'll do 3, but for the most part, we'll do 2 at most. And then the private lender will fund the whole deal with whether it's the purchase or the rehab, or both purchase and rehab. Make sense?
Yes. And I guess, so how are you sourcing those? Is there a network that you're plugged in for that, or
Facebook. Everybody reaches out to me on Facebook. I've raised over $1 million off of Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm a wide open book. If you go on my page, the same thing I'm talking to you guys about right now, I'm talking about it on Facebook every day. I'm on the job site recording everything that I'm doing. I'm just putting myself out there. I'm just being consistent and putting myself out there. So if you're following me constantly as a private lender, you constantly see me out there. You constantly see, you know where to find me. You can see what your project is going on with, because you can just look at Facebook. You don't see me posting it. So that how confident do you feel that you know of a person, that you see their track record because you've seen all the projects they've done, you've seen all the closings that they go to. You'd feel real confident with giving this person money because you know what they're doing. And then when I'm going to a lender, it's never me. I don't ask lenders for money. I'm always presenting them an opportunity, because that's what it is. It's an opportunity for me to give it to you to get this type of interest rate. I've had a lender come to me and want to give us $500,000 and I turned them down because I didn't like their personality. If I don't vibe with you, if I don't think we're gonna work well together, it's not about the money. I'm not gonna work with you because then I don't want to be fully into a deal and then you and I are just not vibing and something goes wrong. Also, if it's your last $50,000 or $100,000, I'm not gonna take it because I don't want 2 months down the line something pops up and then you need your money back. So all of those things, I have those type of conversation and explain to them, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what the process is, and this is what we're gonna be expecting throughout the time.
Do you have contact information if we have additional questions or anything?
Sure, reach out to
Yes.
me on
Can you?
Facebook. My
Oh,
name
I was
is,
gonna say, Damian, can you put it in the chat also so
sure.
everybody can paste it?
Yeah, Damian Palmer. I keep it simple. Just reach out to me, Damian Palmer on Facebook, Damian Palmer 2020 on Instagram. It's probably easier to get to me on Instagram than Facebook. And then start following me. Damian Palmer 2020 on Instagram. Definitely start following me. We got a bunch of stuff in the works. So definitely, as I said, right now we have 7 properties that we're getting ready to go up. One of them is a R5 lot, 2 blocks away from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The foundation is about 8 foot tall. We're gonna tear the whole house down and keep the foundation. So that one is gonna be another great one. We're keeping it as an Airbnb just because that area is just developing that much. And I potentially might rent out one side to a traditional renter and then just Airbnb one side. It all depends on what the numbers are and things that when we finish. But again, Damian Palmer 2020, Damian Palmer on Facebook, and let me put it in the chat.
Gotcha. And
All
Damian,
right, guys, we are going to get ready to wrap up the meeting. I want to make sure that you guys are following Damian and staying connected. He is an outstanding member of REI USA, definitely real deal investor. So, Damian, I want to thank you so much for your time tonight. This was fantastic, as I knew it would be. And so we're so grateful for you and your time today. So to everyone that's on the meeting, we thank you so much for being here. I want to encourage you guys to stay involved with REI USA. Go to some other meetings. We literally have groups for everything from rentals to mobile homes to short sales. Just go and look at the calendar so you can figure out what's going on. But there's literally a meeting every day, every week. So much is jam-packed into your membership. So we want to, if you guys need anything from me, I'll put my email in the chat too. And of course, my name's probably popping up, but of course I'm on social media. I'm Law Clerk on Demand. So you guys DM me, let me know if you guys need anything, but we thank y'all so much. We're getting ready to wrap it up. Damian, you got everything in the chat?
Yep, I put it in the chat. And then pay attention to this group in the network because there's so much gurus and durus and coaches and all these things, but a lot of times these people are not actually still doing renovations, or even I know people that are coaching right now that haven't done a renovation, but they're coaching people how to do rehabs. So be very careful who do your due diligence. They can't show you they're doing rehabs. Like even like I go through here, like it's not as organized as I should have it, but let me go back. We have, I'm trying to bring it all the way back, but okay. But you see when I opened it up before, how much different projects I had in here because we do it for real. I don't just tell people we do this and we're not doing it. We actually do this for real. Like I sit home and make calls, text messages, do things like that. Everything that I'm telling you guys about is something that we do for real in our business. We live real estate. This is one of the best things for me that I think for somebody to do. So if you're gonna get started, like get started. That's the main thing. Like don't overthink it. Get started. Leverage this network that you're a part of. Reach out to as much people. When I first started, I asked every single question in the book. And it was a dumb question. Oh, well, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I asked everybody every single question that I could because, hey, I wanted to cut my learning curve short. I even hired a coach last year, Mahar. I actually hired Mahar as a personal coach for myself last year because I'm like, I need to cut that learning curve even shorter. There's some more programs that I'm going to join this year because I want to cut the learning curve even shorter. So anytime you're spending money, don't look at it as an expense. You got to look at it as an investment into yourself. So you're either going to learn by investing in other people to help you grow, or you're going to learn by the mistakes that you make in the projects and grow. Either way, it's still fine, but I just want to grow a little bit faster and not make as much mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. That's part of your learning curve, but do the things that you need to do to make yourself move forward quicker.
We don't see your information in the chat. Did you chat it out?
I put it in the chat. I'm not sure. Let me do this one, because that was funny.
Okay, make sure it's on everyone.
Yeah, everyone, as opposed to just.
Okay, yeah. Let me see.
And DeOnna?
Yes.
Hey, this is Lori. I just wanted to share with the group. I purchased my first probate list from the Law Clerk on Demand, Miss Britt, back in December. And we have had 4 very good success stories from the list. I was very shocked because all the numbers were great, were good numbers. None of them were disconnected or anything like that. And I was having one of the people on the list was having an issue with her probate, trying to figure out where it was as far as, with the county. And I reached out to DeOnna last weekend, and she followed up, and they followed back up with me today to let my client know, to let the petitioner know on the document, on the probate list that I got from Miss Britt. They let her know, they pretty much let me know where her file was. So guys, that list is awesome. So, I mean, just really good information on it. So appreciate that. Just wanted to plug that, because I mean, it's a really good list. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
That means a lot.
What was your Facebook page?
You said Facebook page? Is that Damian's?
For Damian.
Yep, Damian Palmer. That's my name. I kept it simple. And then for IG is Damian Palmer 2020. And I got it in the chat box now.
I see it. Thank you.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for attending. Lori, thank you so much for sharing your experience with the Law Clerk on Demand list. I'm super, super grateful for that. And it's our pleasure. I think Damian and I are in agreement. We're here to support you guys. Anything that you guys need, feel free to reach out to us. I encourage you to reach out to Damian. I have seen him grinding literally in these meetings before or after asking questions, okay? And that's why he's so special, and I wanted him to speak to you guys today. But we're getting out of here, so hopefully everybody has his information. He is a member, so he's also in the member directory. You guys go take advantage of the resources. Check in with me. We're back here the first Wednesday of, gosh, we're already at April, y'all. Yep. So the first Wednesday of April, we'll be back with another awesome speaker. So I want you guys to have a wonderful evening. Damian, thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you for having me. And in the future too, like when I'm in meetings, I ask every single question that's on my mind at that time, because that's the only way we're gonna grow. If we don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So anytime I've written I got a list of questions I'm gonna ask whoever's speaking at that time, because I'm just trying to learn as much as I can to move forward.
Thanks, DeOnna, for presenting him or having Damian present today. Thank you.
Did you guys get any value tonight?
Damian, you were incredible. Incredible. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm afraid to get started, but you've encouraged me. Thank you.
Oh, no
I
problem.
think I convinced him to do a group, you guys. So tell Stacy, go message her and say, we want Damian. Because he is a group leader. We just got to get him hooked up for virtual. So it's official. So his group is coming soon, y'all. He just doesn't realize it yet. Because he does the beginner group. So we just got to get him hooked up on Zoom. But Damian, thank you so much. All right, guys, for real, y'all gotta go. Good night.
All right.
Good night.
I'll see y'all next month in the next meeting, and we're on Clubhouse tomorrow. If you guys are on the Clubhouse app, we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. and Damian will be there, right?
Yep, I'll be there.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, have a great night.
Damian, okay, thank you, Damian. I'm going to send you a Facebook chat. I need to know about a permit in Atlanta. Okay.
All right, that's cool.
Appreciate you.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye, Damian.
Bye, guys.
See you guys later. No problem. Appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, guys. Thank you.